Alright guys, I knew as soon as I turned that on my dog would bark. Okay, so we're doing chapter 11 and this is your last set of video lectures, and so hopefully you'll learn something from these. I appreciate you watching them. I usually do these, as you can hear, at home, and so you sometimes hear my dogs in the background. I apologize for that, but I'm working on problem 1115. It's the comprehensive variance analysis, and in this problem we'll be computing materials, price and quantity variances, labor rate and efficiency variances, variable overhead rate variances, and then we'll be talking about those variances after we calculate them. So as I said in the introductory video, every company that uses this type of system will have a standard unit cost. In other words, what does it cost us to make our product? And in that, you'll have direct materials, you'll have direct labor, and you'll have overhead. And in this one, we're only looking at variable manufacturing overhead to get the total standard cost. And the direct materials they give us, it's 3 pounds. And they tell us that the standard price is $2 per pound. And so we think we're going to spend $6 on direct materials. That's our budget. That's what we estimate for the year. And you know, budgets are very important. Direct labor, we expect to spend 0.8 hours on each unit. We expect to pay $6 per hour, so it'll cost us $4.80. And then variable manufacturing overhead is based on machine hours, and we anticipate that we will have 0.4 hours per unit. The predetermined overhead rate that we have calculated is $3 per machine hour, so $12 in variable manufacturing overhead. So we have, that's wrong, this should be $1.20. There we go. So we have a standard unit cost of $12 per unit. So when we did our budgets this year, this is what we thought it would cost us. We based everything on this. We based our paperwork that we gave the bank. We based everything on this. It was our best educated guess. And then we started the year. So what happens, these are estimates. They're not always going to be right. And so we start calculating our variances. And the first one we'll look at, we start with direct materials. And we're going to start with the materials price variance. Now remember, variance is just the difference between actual and budgeted. And I've been teaching this for years, and I always use, sorry, that is the rate variance. I always kind of use this cheat sheet. Actual quantity times actual price, standard actual quantity times standard price, and standard quantity times standard price. And you'll see what I'm doing in a minute. And I think I said standard price here. It's actual. So actual quantity times actual price, actual quantity times standard price, and actual standard quantity times standard price. Now there's definitely other ways to calculate this. This is just the way I've always done it. So my actual quantity, and I'm going to go ahead and move these over so I can kind of show you what I'm doing here. Sometimes when you do it this way, the whole thing makes so much more sense. Okay, so I'm looking at my direct materials, and I'm looking at this right here is going to be the price variance. And the reason this is the price variance, and again, when I get done, you'll understand what I'm doing, I hope. The reason this is the price variance is because I'm going to compare the product of this and the product of this. And what's different is the price. This one has actual price, this one has standard price. So when I compare this, I should see my price variance, but I'm going to hold constant my actual quantity. That's where our flexible budget comes into play. So when you're looking at direct materials, you're looking at what you purchased. And we purchased 60,000 pounds and we paid $1.95 per pound. And so if I multiply those together, I come up with $117,000. And then if I come over here and I take my actual quantity and I multiply it by my standard price, so what did I think I was going to pay per pound? I planned to pay $2 per pound. So then I multiply those together and I get 120,000. And then what I do is I take the difference between these two numbers. And this is my variance. This is my price variance right here. And what I did is I held constant the quantity that I purchased, my actual, so flexible budget. And I said, okay, with quantity held constant, what is my price variance? And I saw that it was $3,000. And is it favorable or unfavorable? I pay less per pound than I expected to. So this is actually favorable. And I'm going to reverse this so it doesn't show as negative because that makes it very confusing. So this is favorable. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here except for my standard quantity. This is where it's a little bit different. I'm going to look at, on my standard quantity, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to compare, and I'm going to hold the price constant. So I'm going to hold that $2 constant, but I'm looking at a quantity variance. So for this one, I want to look at the quantity that I used. So we're going to base this, had an interruption, sorry. We're going to base this on actual usage because we're looking at a quantity variance. This was what we purchased, but we're going to look at what we used. We used 49,200 pounds. So that was our actual quantity, was 49,200 pounds. We're going to hold that price the same, and then we're going to get this product. And then we're going to compare that to the standard quantity. Now this is what you have to think about. We made 15,000, I believe, yeah, 15,000 pulls. Our standard pounds per pull was 3. So this number is 15,000 times 3. So how many pounds we thought we would use? So 45,000. So the product here is the 45,000 times the 2, or 90,000. So then I'm just going to take the difference between these two numbers, which is 8,400. And this is my, what's different up here is the quantity. So this is my direct materials quantity variance. And is it favorable or unfavorable? So I look at it and I say, okay, well, I used 49,200 pounds and I budgeted 45,000 pounds. So this is actually an unfavorable variance. Doesn't mean bad, it's just we use more than we thought. Okay, and then the next thing we do is our direct labor variance. And we have, well, okay, I need to finish this up here. This is our quantity variance. We had two variances there. So when we compared this one over here, it was quantity. I'm going to actually remove that. Okay, so direct labor, and it's the same idea. Well, no, I won't copy. Well, I think I will. So I'm going to copy this down here and clear some of this out. Except what we're going to have here is called a rate variance. And what we're going to have here is called an efficiency variance. And this, we're looking at the difference in the hours worked per product. And this is going to be our actual hours times our actual rate, our actual hours times our standard rate, and our standard hours times our standard rate. So we look at our actual hours. It was given to us 11,800. Our actual rate was $7 per hour. Again, actual hours was 11,800. Our standard rate, we expected to pay $6 per hour. And our standard rate based on our number of units. And so this is where we look at, we thought we were going to do, to find it. This is not, am I using the right numbers here? Yeah, okay. In our standard rate, we produced 15,000 units. And we expected to spend 0.6 hours on each one, no, 0.8 hours, sorry, 0.8 hours. And so we expected to spend 12,000 hours at a standard rate of $6. And so this number is the product of these two, 72,000. And so then we take the difference between this number and we come up with our efficiency variance, which is 1,200, And then we go, is it favorable or unfavorable? Well, our actual rate was $6 per hour. And our actual hours were 11,800, but our standard hours, so we worked less than we expected to, so this is favorable. And I'm going to remove that. There we go, so it doesn't confuse anyone. This is actually, oh, I copied that down. I was going to say, that's not favorable, that's unfavorable. I copied that down. The reason that's unfavorable is because you paid $7 per hour, but you budgeted $6. Okay, that all looks good. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and work the rest of the problem in the next video.